welcome back to my channel. I wanted to hop on here really quick and do another short video about Leah Messers' new book, Hope, Grace, and Faith, that is coming out on May 5th. More details about the book are coming out and about things that happened in Leah Messers' life that we knew nothing about all the years that we have watched her on Teen Mom. Something that has recently come out is Leah Messers actually talks about a night that her mom actually pressured her to have sex with a guy that she barely knew when Leah was only 13 years of age. The Ashley and the Son obtained a copy of the book. Leah states that Mama Dawn would often hang out with Leah and her girlfriends on nights that Leah's stepdad Lee would have to go out of town. Quotes from the book says, "She would let us have friends over and she would hang out with us. I think because she never went to school or even got to be a normal teenager, there was a part of her that felt like she had missed out on something. She wasn't even allowed to talk to boys before she met my dad and got pregnant with me. So she liked hanging out with me and my friends and being around that energy." Leah says that during the time that Mama Dawn was hanging out with her and her friends and doing things like suggesting a game of spin the bottle, that Miss Dawn's marriage to Lee was actually not going well at the time, and that Dawn was actually seeing a therapist and she was also on medication that she would not take. Leah says that her mom was diagnosed as bipolar with depression and anxiety, but because she would refuse to take her medication, sometimes she could be totally unpredictable. Leah says that one minute her mom would be flying high and the next minute she would be in a downward spiral into a dark place. Leah says that she thinks her mom just didn't know how to handle having a teenage daughter. So she would either be really strict with Leah, which could be embarrassing, or she would hang out with them and act like this very young and cool mom, which also Leah said was embarrassing. According to Leah, there was no middle ground. It was either one extreme or the next. Leah discusses the incident where her mom allowed Leah and her cousins to invite some guys over. So Leah invited a teenage boy named Mike, who she casually knew, to come over, and Mike brought his younger brother. Leah says that they were all sitting around the living room talking and hanging out when Leah's mom came into the room with an empty wine bottle and said, "So should we play spin the bottle?" Leah said at first that everyone thought that it was funny and they were laughing. They ended up playing the game, but they wasn't taking it seriously. Leah writes that at one point Mike spun the bottle and she was relieved that it didn't land on her. She says she spun the bottle next and it landed on Mike's younger brother, so she gave him a peck on the cheek and everyone laughed. She said next it was Mike's turn to go again and the bottle landed in an empty space next to Leah. She said there was an awkward pause and he went to spin again. But her mom, Miss Dawn, actually grabbed the bottle and pushed it over to where it was actually pointing right at Leah. She said that she shook her head no and actually said no way, but her mom started wrestling with her and telling her that she had to do it. Leah wrote, "I was laughing because I thought she was just teasing me. But then she started pushing both of us towards the bedroom that I shared with my sister." Leah said the next thing she knew, she was in the room with Mike and her mom was actually holding the door shut from the other side so neither could get out. Leah writes that she remembers feeling trapped like an animal. Leah says in the book that she did not want to kiss Mike, much less have sex with him, but that's exactly what happened. Leah said that while it was obviously consensual for both of them, that they both felt pressured by her mom to do the deed. Leah writes in her book that Mike did not force himself on her. She said, "I think he was actually as nervous and as uncomfortable as I was." At one point, she said that Mike even asked her, "Are you sure, Leah?" Because it was weird. She said she wasn't sure, and it definitely was weird, but she still hadn't learned to say no. So she shrugged and said, "I guess." Leah says in the book that it was easier to just let it happen than to think of why her mom pushed her into that room in the first place. Leah said that her and the boy were in the room for about 10 minutes. She said it was the grossest sex she had ever had. He was all sweaty and grunting, but when it was over, she felt totally ashamed. She said there was no way she could take it back, and she knew that. She said coming out of the room, it was the most humiliating walk of shame. Leah says her mom thought the whole incident was hilarious. She says she remembers looking at her mom and her mom laughing as they walked out. She said later on her mom went to bed. During a 2019 episode of Leah's podcast, Miss Dawn actually discussed how she felt about Leah writing the book, as well as some of the reasons why she behaved the way that she did back then. These are quotes from what Miss Dawn said on that podcast. She said, you learn that behavior, that cycle, and then you find yourself doing those things to your own children. And I still have a hard time. She later added that she did apologize to Leah and her siblings as well as Lee for the things she did to them back then. Another quote from Miss Dawn on that podcast is, I had to apologize this year to each one of my children and my husband because I was wrong to them and my husband. I was acting out my cycle and all the hurt I've been through. I have no objections against Leah writing the book. Everyone is going to have something to learn from it. And if it takes our lives for other people's eyes to be open with their families, then I'm all for it. So you guys, are you shocked to find out? I mean, I was shocked to find out last week that Miss Dawn was the one that come up with the lie about the miscarriage. And now here we are reading that like the second time Leah Messers was intimate with a boy, she was like 13 years old, and it was under her mom's instruction, and that her mom basically pushed her in the room. It actually says that her mom actually shoved them both towards the room, and she held the door shut from the outside to where they could not even get out, even if they wanted to. What do you guys think about this? I'm shocked. It does seem like Dawn understands that what she done was wrong. It seems like she learned from it, and according to her, she was just living out a cycle of stuff that she had possibly been through, or some things that had affected her in her upbringing. What do you guys think about this? Are you as shocked as I am? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.